pore Sharavinduriya Deha Krishna Namadane. Tumi kripa pore Sharavinduriya Deha Krishna Namadane. Krishna se tomara Krishna diti paro tomara sapati ache. Krishna se tomara Krishna diti paro tomara sapati ache. Kangala Krishna Krishna Bole Dai Tava Pache Pache. Amito Kangala Krishna Krishna Bole Dai Tava Pache Pache. O Venerable Vaishnava, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your lotus feet and purify me. I hold on to your lotus feet. Somebody else?
Teach me to control my 6 passions, rectify my 6 faults, bestow upon me the 6 qualities, and offer unto me the 6 kinds of holy association.
Although I find I have no strength to chant the holy name of Lord Hari, I beg you therefore, please be merciful, and with a particle of faith, give me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna.
Krishna is yours, you have the power to give him to me. For such is your power, I am indeed wretched and simply run after you, crying, Krishna, Krishna.
There's a Australia Madhvacharya. 53. So Madhvacharya, he actually appeared many years ago in the 12th century. And it is said that he's one of our acharyas coming in our succession. We come in the Brahma Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya. The Madhva is definitely there. So it is said, that his parents, they performed very severe austerities for 12 years in order to have a special son that could deliver everyone from their suffering condition. Because actually these parents were great devotees of the Lord, and they worshipped a famous deity, Ananteshvara, in Udupi. And they were always absorbed in chanting the holy name, and they could see how people had fallen away from God consciousness, from Krishna consciousness, and therefore they were suffering in many ways. So they performing these great austerities that had this special sun that could uplift people, reconnect people was their eternal loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. And also during this time, actually, there was a feeling of unrest amongst the demigods. And the reason for that was due to the prominence of impersonal philosophies and Buddhist philosophies that were just starting to spread throughout the world. And so the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, they approached Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu was there amongst the demigods, and he immediately just looked around and surveyed the assembly of demigods, and suddenly his eyes just fell on Vayu, the wind god. And Vishnu said to Vayu, "Oh Vayu, I'd like you to incarnate on the earth as Madhva and establish my personal form as the last word in the absolute truth." And he went on to say that you must exhibit the pastimes of a great preacher of bhakti and guide my devotees. Defeat all opposing concocted philosophies and establish pure Vaishnava Dharma as the ultimate word in the absolute truth. So Vayu, when he heard this coming straight from the Lord, he was immediately accepted his mission. And soon after, in 1238 AD, this incarnation of Vayu appeared from his mother's womb, and he was given the name Vasudeva. It's also said that he's an incarnation of Bhima, and also Hanuman. He has these potencies of these personalities. Extremely powerful, extremely learned. So the astrologers, they predicted that this child was an incarnation of the wind god, and he would establish the philosophy of impersonalism. And there's many amazing childhood pastimes, news spread of his childhood pastimes, and all the local villages were enthralled by his pastimes. There's one story, at 2 years old, he mystically turned a bag of tamarind seeds into gold coins so his poor father could pay off his debt. And it said when his mother called him, he would suddenly appear in one jump. And when he was only 3 years old, he took off from home and went on a pilgrimage of all the local temples. And it is said that the Lord personally escorted him around from one temple to another. And as he grew up, he became known as one who possessed unusual strength, extraordinary intellectual power, and also he was extremely beautiful and extremely lustrous. At school, he would always come first in all events, whatever it was. Running, swimming, wrestling, weightlifting. Sometimes they would challenge him. A large group of boys would come and challenge him in a wrestling match. And he would defeat them all. And of course, it was also known he never studied his schoolwork, but he'd always got exact 100% in his marks. And also, Madhvacharya was known as a musical genius. He had an amazingly beautiful voice which would just enthrall audiences. And at the age of only 4 years old, actually, he defeated a famous scholar in a public debate. At the age of 5, he took Diksha and Brahminical initiation when he was 5. And then one day at the age of 12, he picked up a stick and then he approached his father and he told him, I have finished my studies now of scripture, so I will go and preach Vaishnava conclusions refuting the philosophy of impersonalism. And his father he said to him, as it is impossible for a dry stick to become a living tree, it is impossible for just a small boy like you to preach Vaishnava Siddhanta and defeat Mayavadi impersonal philosophers. So hearing this, Madhvacharya replied, my dear father, by the mercy of the Lord, it is not impossible for this stick to become a huge tree. Similarly, by the Lord's mercy, a boy like me can preach and defeat Mayavadis. And after saying this, he got the stick, this dry stick, and he stuck it in the ground. And immediately, to everyone's surprise, it grew into a giant banyan tree. A lot of mystical things. So at the age of 12 years, despite this strong protest from his father, he just renounced the world, left home, took sannyas initiation and began travelling around, dedicating his life to spreading the ultimate truth. So Srila Madhvacharya's desire was, his mission was orchestrated by the Lord's desire to carry people back to pure Vaishnava Dharma. And we can see, if 2,500 years ago, people were slaughtering innocent animals for food and justifying this act by misconstruing the writings of the Vedas. So Lord Vishnu incarnated as Lord Buddha to draw people's minds away from the Vedas, which they were misinterpreting, and he taught them sub-religious principles. What is sub-religious principles such as non-violence, vegetarianism? And then Krishna sent Lord Shiva, who came in the form of a Brahmana named Sankaracharya, who re-established people's faith in the Vedas by teaching the philosophy of impersonalism. Thus he brought them from Buddhism to impersonalism. Then Krishna sent Ramanujacharya in 1017, then Madhvacharya in 1238 to bring people from impersonalism to personalism. Then Krishna came himself with Lord Chaitanya and established the religion of this age, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So this is a whole sequel of events that took place. When society goes off the track, Krishna comes and brings it back. So after Sankaracharya had toured all over India spreading this impersonalism, Madhvacharya, he travelled all over India preaching personalism, devotion to Vishnu. And despite hot opposition from orthodox extremists, his influence just spread far and wide. Scholars from all over India were just stunned by his extraordinary genius. And his disciples grew and grew, and he was just so powerful in his preaching and so expert. And he was defeating all sorts of people. Impersonalists, Mayavadis, Jains, Buddhists, logicians, converting them into Vaishnavas. Actually, while he was travelling in South India, he challenged his famous Vijaya Sankara Swami. He was a linear successor to Sankaracharya, who was the original propounder of this monistic impersonal philosophy. And it was a very fierce battle took place. philosophical debate, very fierce, in the form of this philosophical debate. And of course, Madhvacharya, he defeated him in front of this huge crowd who gathered. Another occasion, while addressing an assembly of learned scholars, he began explaining 100 meanings of each of the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. And after some time, these scholars, they begged him to stop, admitting that they didn't have the intelligence to comprehend his elaborate explanations. So after he wrote this commentary in the Bhagavad Gita, and he wanted to personally present it to Vyasadeva as a tribute to him. And we know Vyasadeva, he still lives up there in the Himalayas, somewhere I think it's Madhvacharya, isn't it? In a cave there. Although we can go there, but we won't see him because we don't have the eye. He won't reveal himself to us. But he revealed himself to such people as Madhvacharya. So he wrote this commentary to the Bhagavad Gita, and he wanted to present it as a tribute to Vyasadeva. And so he began his journey on foot, walking up high into the Himalayas. So he was very powerful, this Madhvacharya. Like I said, he had the potency of Bhima and Hanuman and Vayu. Actually, when they were travelling up to the Himalayas, what happened is, one day while they were travelling, this fierce tiger just attacked one of his sannyas disciples. So Madhva immediately just pounced on the tiger. And this fierce battle took place between Madhva and the tiger. Madhva just subdued the tiger, and the tiger just ran off with his tail between its legs. So, at one point during this journey up to see Vyasadeva, Madhva stopped and he prepared himself to meet the great Srila Vyasadeva. And he observed complete silence and complete fasting for 48 days. And then, when he saw, on seeing Srila Vyasadeva, Madhva just fell flat on the ground. And then Srila Vyasadeva was sitting there in his cave on a black deer skin. You know, Madhva had always thought of Srila Vyasadeva as his instructing spiritual master. And throughout his life, he was always meditating on him. And now, he was just awestruck, being fully in the presence of Srila Vyasadeva. So, taking the dust of Srila Vyasadeva's lotus feet, which were just adorned with all these auspicious symbols, Madhva just placed those lotus feet on his head. And Srila Vyasadeva, he got up from his deerskin mat. He stood up and he lifted Madhva up, just as a father might pick up a small child, and then affectionately just embraced him. Then Madhva, he offered prayers to Srila Vyasadeva. Oh my Lord, wherever I may be, let me always remain close to you by being absorbed in thought of you. Then Madhvacharya presented his Gita commentary, which received the approval of Srila Vyasadeva. And then, from Srila Vyasadeva himself, Madhva learned the full meaning of Vedanta Sutra and was just blessed at that time with deep realizations and deep enlightenment. And then Srila Vyasadeva personally gave Madhva a very special gift, a Shalamam Shila to worship. And he told him that I want you to write a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. So Madhvacharya left, But he also came back later, while he was still in his 20s, and again visited Srila Vyasadeva. At this time, Srila Vyasadeva gave him 8 shalagram shivas to worship. So in a dupi, has anyone been to a dupi? Very amazing place in South India. It's on the west coast of South India, right? In a dupi, Madhva, he founded the Sri Krishna Mat, a special temple where they installed this beautiful deity of Gopal, which was previously worshipped by Queen Rukmini, who was Krishna's consort in Dwarka, thousands of years ago. So what happened is, after the divine couple, Krishna and his queens had all gone back to the spiritual world, Arjuna had hidden this deity in a place near Dwarka. And over thousands of years, what happened is the deity became covered up with clay. Then one day, some merchants, they picked up this huge mass of clay. It's actually not just clay, but it's Gopi Chanda, tilak from Dwarka. And they didn't even realize that inside this huge lump of tilak, there was a deity of Gopal. So they loaded on their ship, and what happened is, off the coast of Udupi, there was this fierce storm, and the ship got caught on the edge of a coral reef. And actually, just at that time, Madhva just happened to be bathing there, and he saw the ship. So he tied his chadar onto his danda and began waving it in the air. And at that time, he mystically started breathing in, and miraculously the ship was sucked through an opening in the reef and floated to where Madhva was actually standing. Of course, the storm had just suddenly disappeared, and the grateful captain, he offered Madhva, he said, "You can take anything you like from my cargo." So Madhva looked over the cargo and he saw the chandan, the tilak, and he chose to take the tilak. So what happened is, when they were taking that tilak off the ship, a piece broke off and it revealed there's a beautiful deity inside, the Gopal deity. So they laid this deity on the beach, and then 30 of his disciples, they tried to lift the deity and carry it, but they couldn't move it, they couldn't even budge it. It's only when Madhvacharya himself came forward and embraced the deity and lifted it that the deity consented to be moved. Then Madhva, he carried that deity 4 miles to Udupi and installed him in the Sri Krishna Mat. So Madhvacharya, then he instituted this very high standard of worship in this temple. And whenever Madhva was in Udupi, he would personally perform the daily worship. So there in Udupi and all the surrounding areas, he established 8 temples and 8 sets of deities. And there's 8 sannyasis who perform the direct service to each temple. And they rotate, I think, every year or every 2 years, from one temple to another. So almost every evening in Udupi, there's this big festival. And this elephant, because everyone's been in Mayapur, and they've seen the elephant procession there. It happens just in Kartik, isn't it? It's not all year round, it's certain times of the year. On a Saturday night, the elephant comes out, and they put the little Radha Krishna deities on the elephant, and there's a nice big kirtan in front of the elephant, and all the Gurukul boys are chanting the mantras from the Vedas. And all the devotees are there, and they stop at different places and around the temple area, and people come out and do offerings. And devotees make these beautiful mandalas around the temple area. So you're simply in a dupi. They do this in the evening. The elephants come out, musical bands, fireworks, beautifully decorated carts carrying the deities are taken around town in this incredible royal procession, smiling and benedicting the adoring crowds and the residents and the pilgrims. And they all bring out offerings for the Lord's pleasure. I know Ramai Swami, he went there, and he goes there regularly when he goes to India. An amazing place, it's a dupi. And because of this incredible pure devotional atmosphere of a dupi, it is said that a dupi has attained the status of Vaikuntha, the kingdom of God. So our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya originates from the Madhva Sampradaya. Our specific line, as I said, was called the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So, us Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we share the same philosophical points as Sri Madhvacharya, including this philosophy of Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, that everything is simultaneously one and different from the Lord. And we see, when we read Prabhupada's books, we see Prabhupada quotes Madhvacharya's thousands of times in his writings and his purports, and lectures and conversations. And we see Lord Chaitanya's followers, including the 6 Goswamis, they thoroughly studied Madhvacharya's work before compiling their writings. And Madhvacharya, he was like an absolute genius. I mean, he wrote 40 books, which included, commentaries on the Upanishads, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and he also wrote many devotional songs and handbooks for Vaishnavas, such as the duties and practices of the householders, of mendicants. He also wrote works concerned with understanding philosophies, philosophical processes, such as epistemology and ontology, and books on astrology and performance of ceremonies and rituals. He even wrote books on architecture and mathematics and there's so many Vedic sciences. He just, actually the Vedas, it is said, that comprise 120,000 books, which cover just every aspect of knowledge. And it is said that, whatever knowledge we have in the world today, anything we've forgotten or everything we're trying to learn, whatever it is, science, mathematics, medicine, it originally came from the Vedas. It comes down through different branches of knowledge. So Madhvacharya, when he reached his 79th year of age, he actually decided to depart from this world in 1317. And he was satisfied with his mission on earth. Lord Vishnu had given him a particular mission. So he was satisfied that he'd successfully accomplished his mission. He smashed all the propounders of impersonalistic and atheistic philosophies. He had changed the mood of the people of India by means of his preaching, his books, his disciples. He'd sufficiently spread the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and loving devotional service to him. So one day, in the 79th year after, in a dupi, he decided that, it's time for me to go. So he initiated several of his leading disciples into sannyas, and he installed certain leaders to take charge of the 8 months in Anupi. And he assigned various disciples with responsibilities to carry out his established writings and preaching work. Then one day, soon after, he was seated on his asana in the temple, surrounded by hundreds of disciples. And he was reciting verses from his favorite Upanishad. It is said that his face appeared very charming with his sublime smile. His voice was very sweet and very powerful and very pure. And suddenly, everyone could hear these celestial voices coming from the heavens, just proclaiming Madhvacharya's wonderful glories. And drums were beating. Then Madhvacharya, all his disciples, looked up towards the sky, and they saw these showers of flowers were coming down from the hands of celestial beings. Everyone became jubilant in transcendental ecstasy, and the flowers just kept coming and coming. And actually the flowers just piled up around the asana and just completely covered Madhvacharya's whole body. So he couldn't even be seen. Everyone was just amazed. And then 2 intimate disciples, they came forward and they brushed away the flowers of their beloved Gurudev. And then they discovered Madhvacharya is gone. He's left this world, he's gone back in the spiritual world. Shri Madhvacharya ki Jai. There's a little brief talk about Madhvacharya's life. Does anyone have any questions or like to?
You said he was an incarnation of Vayu, that's correct? And at the same time you said he's gone back to the spiritual world. Could he have gone back to his post? Or?
Yeah, I'm thinking he probably went back to the spiritual world. But I don't know. I've never read that. He was such a great Vaishnava devotee. You would think he'd go back to the spiritual world. But I mean, there's so many different people that can take the posts of different demigods, right? Even Lord Brahma. So many Brahmas are coming and going, different creations. And Indras. So similarly, there must be different personalities perform certain levels of pious work. They get to become a Vayu. But he had this, there's one, also another, he did some amazing feats, like, Bhima was a voracious eater. You hear that he performed this when he was traveling. He stopped in this place. I can't remember where it was. Maybe Jagannath. And he ate like thousands of bananas. You heard this? And he drank like all these hundreds of pots of kia. And I think Pete. But so we see, that this impersonalism and this Buddhist philosophy was just spreading so much in India. And their demigods were feeling, we've got to do something about this. They came to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu sent Vayu and empowered him to go out and just bring people Sanatananism, Buddhism, and turn them into pure Vaishnavas. Re-establish the Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava Dharma. And then of course Lord Chaitanya came after that and established the religion for this age, the chanting of the holy name. So as I said, there's that verse in the Bhagavad Gita, whenever and wherever there's a predominant rise of a religion, Krishna, he comes himself, or he comes in his various incarnations, or he sends his representatives to re-establish the principles of religion. Shri Madhvacharya ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.